Hey, welcome to Pete's Place. Today on the to-do list, we're in the kitchen and we're going to be working on faux trusses, full box trusses. Full box trusses are going to be surface mounted to the ceiling. So what we've done is we've planned out 3 trusses, evenly spaced, and put in place where the trusses are in the ceiling, in the attic, so that we have something to nail to. Okay, so on the difficulty scale of this project, I'd say it's probably about an 8 or a 9 because you're working aerial on the ladder at, I don't know, is it 14 feet at the peak? So maybe not for everybody. The first thing that I did was I measured out the locations of the trusses, and I also, using this is one of my favorite scanners. It's called a Franklin sensor, and if you can come over here for a sec, I'll show you how easy it is to work. You basically just press this yellow button and hold it on the wall, and if it had any batteries, oh, there it is. The batteries are done. But this is how easy it is to work. You press the button, and wherever the stud is, it's going to show you by lighting up these LED lights. So you can take it off, you can put it back on, you don't have to readjust it. It knows and tells you exactly where the studs are. So what I did, I went up to the ceiling, and using this stud finder, I penciled and outlined where all my ceiling trusses were, so I can understand where do we want to put the full box trusses and have something to nail to. So that was the first step. The second step I used is over here, and I have this laser. It's really handy to use. It's a vertical and horizontal laser, and it helps you line things up. So what I did was I turned on the laser, and then I set it up so that it positioned itself on the side of where my 1x6s are going to be. Now these are 1x4s because they're going to sit inside the surface box, right? So I'm using 1x6s by 8 feet long, and these are actually 1x4 because they're going to be inside. My outside planks are going to be on the outside of this baseboard. So what I did is I used the laser to give me an edge of where I could position these base plates so they lined up, and also where I could attach them to the trusses. So where I could attach them to the trusses, I used 2-inch deck screws, and these are T25 deck screws. I don't know if you ever used this T25 bit before, or the T-series star drivers. They're so easy to use. You can always grab a screw, and it has pretty good traction. So I'm a big fan of the T-series, the star series heads on these screws. So wherever I could, I drilled in screws every foot to the base plate into the truss in the attic, and then where my trusses, and nothing ever lines up perfectly. So wherever it didn't line up perfectly, like for example on this truss I had to put the screws on the edge of the base plate, and then to supplement that, to make sure that it stayed in place once we start hanging all this other wood on top of it, what I did was I used these anchors. I'll show you. These are the easiest anchors to use. They're wall anchors. I don't know if you can get a close-up of that. And then let me pull one out here. So the idea of these anchors, it's a little metal piece and then a plastic piece. So what you do is you drill a 1/2-inch hole, and these ones are 1/2-inch, and then you bend it so it's on its side, and then you push it in the hole, and it automatically springs back to perpendicular. And then what you do is you move this cap, you slide it up so that it's snug. And then all you do is you break off this piece of plastic, and it's in place. Then you take your screw that comes in the package, and what I do is I put a washer on here, and then you screw this up and it goes through this metal bracket, and then it attaches whatever you're trying to attach to your surface really snug. Really easy to use, maybe a little bit more expensive than your normal wall anchors, but these are fantastic. I love these. Okay, the next step to making sure I understand what my angles are for my full box trusses at the wall as well as at the peak. I got this protractor. Oh my God, this is one of the, and I can't believe that I haven't had this or something like this before, because it makes things so easy. So one side is a miter cut and the other side is a single cut, and then basically on the dial it'll show you which is the single cut and which is the miter cut angle. So what I did was I went up and I measured the wall and I got a 20-degree angle for the side cut that hits the wall. And my peak, I believe, is an 18-degree angle for my miter. So I'm going to do, I think I have to trim this piece first. I'm going to do a little mock-up and then dry fit it so I make sure that the angles are correct, and then I can start cutting boards. Once I cut the boards, what I'm going to do is cut a piece and then dry fit it, and then with my nail gun I'm going to shoot nails in the sides of my surface plank onto my baseboard that's already up there. And then once I get one piece up, the next piece, what I'll do is I'll glue that edge, and then I'll put the edges together so they're glued and put a clamp on it so it looks like it's a nice tight miter cut. So that's the plan. One last thing is, let's take a look at the wood that I'm going to use. So we'll go over there next. Okay, so the material that we're going to use today is just common standard pine. I think it's like 10 or 12 bucks a piece. These are 1x6 by 10 feet long. And these sections of ceiling up here are about 8 feet long. So I bought the 10 footers so that I could properly make my cuts and not be too short. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to cut it to the right angle, then I'm going to dry fit it, then I'm going to nail it in place, and this is going to be shot into the side of the base plate that's currently there. So unfortunately it's going to take me a little while because I'm going to have to do every piece individually, which is not the best way to do it. Obviously if I could build the whole box and put it up at once, it'd be a lot easier, but everything seems to be a custom fit, custom angle, so it's going to take a little bit longer. But once I get that one piece up, then I can measure the second piece, I'll glue it on the edge, I'll clamp it, I'll nail it in, and then we'll have one side done. And then I'll just keep repeating the process on the other side of the base plate. Once I get all the sides up, then I'll start working on the bottom parts. And my bottom piece of wood is going to be a full 1x6 because that base plate is a 1x4. So the bottom piece will cover the seams for the side pieces. So hopefully it should look pretty good. That's the plan. I'm going to give it a try. Okay, so unfortunately this is my wood shop, aka garage, where I've got my miter saw set up. I've got my dust curtain and my fan. Anytime I'm doing a cut in here, I'll open the garage door, turn on the fan, and try and blow the sawdust out of the garage so it doesn't make this whole place a sawmill dust factory. Anyways, so with my miter saw, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up these cuts. So I'm going to do an 18-degree peak cut for where they join at the peak. I'll do a 20-degree wall cut over here on my mock-up pieces using my miter saw. Get them up there. The best thing to do is to dry fit these pieces so you know that you got the angles right. It's just kind of like doing crown molding. You always want to dry fit that piece first to make sure you got the angle, so you don't have to fill it full of gallons of wood putty, right? You want to make it look good. So that's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to chop these to the right angle. We'll dry fit them, and if they work, then I'll measure from peak to wall and then start making my cuts on my real boards that I'm going to use. So that's next. looks good. That lines up nice. Okay, that works. 20-degree wall angle. Oh, nice. It's good. Okay. Okay, in order to measure these side planks, I'm going to use my laser because it's just too hard to use your tape measure and, you know, hold it in place. So, love this laser measuring tool. I can turn it on, change the unit to feet, and then I can put this in place like that, shoot it at the wall, and it gives me an accurate measurement, 7.664 feet. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to go a little bit larger and then nibble it down to make sure it fits perfect. Let's try that. I think we're good. Good to shoot. Ready to go. Okay. We're going to do this again with a charged battery, because when you get up there, hold it ready to go, and you go like this, and it doesn't make that noise, that means you got a dead battery. So I just got a new battery, so we'll give it a try. Might do a little persuasion. Okay, rubber tip, so we don't damage the wood. There's about maybe an 1/8 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch that it's too long. So maybe we can persuade it. Yay, that worked. Okay, let's finish nailing this place. Okay, so it turns out this is not perfect. It's not perfectly lined up on the wall, not perfectly lined up on the other side of the ceiling here. It's going to show as the first beam you see when you walk in. I'm going to knock it out and start on this side, the wall side. I know that my length is good up to the peak. So I'm going to knock this out and start here and nail up that way. That way I know that this edge that everybody can see is perfect. Okay? So I got the board. We just have to nail out these or pull them through. It's not a big deal, and I can re-nail where my holes are. But at least if I start from the wall edge, work back, then I don't have to fill any gaps, and that's the better way to do it. Pliers, hammer, knock the nails out from the other side, pull them out with the pliers, should be good to go again. And I don't want to use the hammer and claw them out because that's probably going to mess up the wood, the finish of the wood. So we can just probably pull these out. Just like pulling teeth. And it looks like there's another hole, so there might be another nail still left in the boards up in the ceiling. So I need to check that and make sure there isn't any surprises. Okay, so we should be good to go again. There we go. The walls are not perfectly square, so there's going to be a little bit of a gap. I think that's as close as I can get, and you press it up the top once I get up there, but I'm pretty happy with this corner right now, so I'm going to launch it in. Looking good. All right, first board up. Okay, one up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 more to go. Let's do it. Here's on. Let's get this up. Go ahead. Let's go closer to the edge. You can lean on it. If I'm looking at it, it's perfect. Okay, I'm going to this. Oh, that's perfect. That's good again. Okay, here we go. Hold tight. Move up. Pull that around. And nail the other a little bit there. Oh, good. Okay, here we go. And Should be good. All right. Should be good. Okay. Here's our BB indexes. Okay, it's time to measure the other board with my fancy dancy Lovum laser measuring tool. This thing is great. And I like measuring in metric because it's more precise. You get down to the millimeter. Really easy. It's all about tens. Let's use this next. Let's get this up here. I'm ready to use next. Okay. Let's do that right there. Right edge. Right there. Right there. Okay. Come on, 3 fingers. I started gluing this, and then I've already dry fit the board so that once we get up there, we can hold it and nail it and glue it and clamp it. That's the plan. Position. Ready. And right up. The wall. On the seam. Yeah. No. All right. Good. Tight. Here we go. Okay, shoot it. Stop here. You shut the wall. Is that the walls? You don't bother, so we're gonna have to do it. Can't shut it. No, it's enough to the angle. Here. No, okay. Can't say what's the straight. That's the problem. Wow. So that nails. We built this house. Should we go? Yeah. Alright. Okay. Okay, I think we're ready for the next one. All cut. Ready to go. Good. Stay long. Measure twice, cut 3 times. So it's perfect. Solid. Okay, come on down. Okay, here we go. Up. Oops. Come on. There. And squeeze it here. Look at that place. Better. Okay. Yeah. Right. This corner turned out not bad, except for the gap behind it, but yeah. None of these walls and ceilings are straight, and these boards aren't straight, so best thing you do is get them close, and then you gotta put caulking or wood filler or something in, or yeah, nothing straight.
Yeah? What are you looking at? Huh? What? Help! It's coming to get me!
Okay, board's cut, dry fit, time to glue. position, clamp, and then nail. Obviously I need some more glue.
Do you like the curved ceiling?
Curved ceilings suck. Don't ever do curved ceiling bumps. Use straight angles, use your protractor, use your square. Make sure things are square, not round corners. Oh my God, what a pain in the ass. Don't do that when you're building a house. Okay, here, glue. Here, go. Here, there, here. Hey, welcome back to Pete's to-do list. On today, it's going to be day 2 of the kitchen surface box truss installation. But one of the first things I wanted to talk about was having a jig. So when I'm doing these beams, there's multiple sides. There's north and south, there's the east and west part, and I find that it's easier if you have something to follow. So what I've done is I've taken some, extra cuts of the boards. I've made sure that I tested and dry fit all the angles. And then what I do is I'll label these, and I'll use these when I'm cutting the boards so that I know what's the right finished face that I'm using. And then also, am I using the right angle on the right side at the right time? Because usually when you buy wood from any of the big box stores, one side is going to have a label on it, and typically you don't want to use that because you don't want to see the label. And then other situations where they're longer boards, the label could be on one side, which means you can choose which different side you want it to use. So all that kind of takes into play when you're sizing up and cutting the boards. But in this specific example, what I've done is I've labeled both sides of these boards so that I can flip them back and forth. But here's the peak. These are the wall ends. I've put my angles on the the wall side, the peak side, and also the wall side. I've labeled them east and west, and also north and south, because in the kitchen we're facing north, so there's a north side to these trusses and also a south side, and then also there's the west part of the ceiling and also the east part of the ceiling. So you're gonna have to keep that in mind when you're measuring the boards, when you're laying them out, when you're getting ready to do your angles, because you don't want to be cutting the wrong side with the wrong angle, because then that piece of board is going to be used for something else. So that's what we're going to start with today. We're going to finish off the north side of the kitchen. We're going to put the sideboards on, but first the glue set where we met the peak boards at the miter joints. I'm going to take these clamps off right now and see how it looks. So let's get going. Nice and strong. And they look pretty good. They're relatively flush. Might have to do a little sanding on this side. The bottoms are pretty good, so I'm happy with that seam. Okay, let's take down the other side. Okay, well, there's a little bit of glue on it. The bottom here isn't perfect. It's not entirely flush, but So there's kind of two trains of thought here. One is screw it and you can't see it from down there, or what I'll have to do, because I'm me, I'll have to take the sander and sand this a little bit, sand the side faces of them so they're nice and level. But so far, happy with the way it's going up.
Two point 3, 4, 5 meters.
You did cheat up on this. Yeah, it's not
Okay.
right. You take mine and move this up.
Okay.
That's what's starting with the walls.
Okay, just make sure it's right distance. Okay. It's probably this. Right again. Yeah, so yeah, this is the right size. Yes, you want to do this. Other side. Yeah, other side. Right, got ladder 6 times. Right, that's the word. Oh, good. Well, you want that exactly. You take off the little sliver right here. Just like that. Then, okay. Yeah, this is certainly not. Maybe we can save for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
Oh, I did.
You good? Go here. Good. There we go. Three. Good. Pencil. Pencil. Nice. Good. There we go. Perfect. That's good. Put it down. Great. Okay, let's go like this. Right there. Oh, yes. Okay. Good. Okay, feet. And it's gonna be going. Or here. Still gonna be flat. Or you this one first. This one first. Wait. Awesome. Okay, good.